the dam, water started collecting in the lower area. And so a big lake developed and eventually found a weak point in the monocline and started to flow through it. And it was that catastrophic dam burst, we believe, that carved out the Grand Canyon.
And so it's because of the carving of the canyon that we have these folds exposed to view. And these are the places that we sampled.
Let me show you on a map where we...
Oh yeah, I'd love to see that. So this is a geological map. You can see it's been well used.
Well used. I've had this out in the Grand Canyon many times in my pack.
You know, I can tell that if you're going to be a geologist, you need to learn how to unfold and fold maps.
That's right. Yeah, you'll notice that this is a very colorful map.
Yeah.
Every color on here is a different kind of rock layer.
When we floated down the canyon and looked at the layers, these colors now represent what we were seeing.
Yep. Every color is a different layer. Mm-hmm. The Grand Canyon goes through here, starts way up here. In fact, the very upper part is not even on the map, but it comes down through this way, wraps around down this way, goes off the map over there, and this is just the eastern part.
Yeah.
There's a whole nother western part that sits over there, and Lake Mead after that.
Is Carbon Canyon on here?
Yep. Yes, Carbon Canyon is up here. Okay, here we come down just below 60 Mile Rapids here. We took the regional sample just above the Little Colorado River, and we came down here and parked, and Carbon Canyon is up here.
Okay.
And here's the fault line. And the fold is right on that fault line. That's the Butte Fault. And you can see it's a north-south, and that marks the edge of that monocline.
Yeah. So this is where you took the sample?
Yes. Parked the boats, walked up to the fold. Carbon Canyon is a side canyon to the main Grand Canyon, and it cuts through the folded layers. In the East Kaibab, if we look ahead, you can follow the layering essentially horizontal. And as we get towards the end of the canyon here, you can see the layers turn up to the skyline, almost vertical. So you can see the bend in the rocks. The thickness of the bed, the dip and strike of the layer, if we can obtain that information. So it's a very intense, and of course you're working on a cliff face, so you've got to watch your footage. Oh, that's a biggie. And then we would go in and we'd take those samples in the specified way and mark the sample so we knew where was the top of the bed, because you've got to orient it. Labels the bag, put an extra card in with a sample number. It's back to basics. This is about actually taking measurements.
The nice thing about geologic maps is that the geologist will often draw a line across the map, and then he'll show you what the layers, what he thinks the layers look like underneath. Yeah. So you can see these lines. And so right here is where the East Kaibab monocline goes through, and you see how the rocks are nice and flat right here, and then all of a sudden there's a bend.
Yes, and there's a lower elevation down over here and back over here.
And so what happened, what we think happened, is the rock down here in the basement is really hard, and it broke and faulted, and that's the fault right there. But the rocks on top are
all the way around here, come around to this is the monument fold. This is still Pete sandstone. It's actually marked on the map that there's a fold there, but there's also a fault line.
A fault underneath, and the rock underneath pushed up and made the rocks on top fold because they were soft.
Look at the geological implications, for example, and then go out and test those implications.
Okay. 7 down, 1 to go.
So your research was then to take samples in those folds, but you also took other samples.
Yes, well, as a control, we obviously collected samples away from the folds so that we can make comparisons. That's why we took samples from where the rocks are folded, and then we took regional samples from where the rocks are flat, but all in the same layer. If all the rocks from the different locations are the same, that's a strong indicator the layers were soft when they folded and therefore not millions of years old. And we made it all the way down and we did another regional sample at Doris
Rapids up in here.
And then Matt Catamoeba, we looked at a fold in the Muave. But there were other samples we got in between of the Bright Angel Shale and the Muave limestone because these are the three units. And this has been in the making for what, 4 years now? 4 years. We've talked about this for a long time beforehand, but the planning to make this happen has been going on for 4 years through the whole project. You'd see lots of evidence of that, but you don't. Sure, there's joints there, there's cracks, but they're not shatter type cracks. The whole rock would have just disintegrated with the bending motion.
You're not afraid of heights, obviously.
No, I've done a lot of house painting in my years, so been on a lot of ladders. So this ladder was very stable, and glad my wife wasn't here.
So that's an overview of the project, and